Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1978's Sensual Encounters of Every Kind. Harold Lime presents Sensual Encounters of Every Kind. Look at that beautiful poster art there. And this is distributed by Vinegar Syndrome. This is the back of the DVD with a couple shots there. Serena, Leslie Beauvais. You can see a couple right there. And this is directed by Richard Cantor. And this is the film right here, folks, by Vinegar Syndrome. Got this for about, I believe about 15 bucks. Available on Amazon, obviously Vinegar Syndrome site itself, and any other kind of used outlet or things like that. This is Sensual Encounters of Every Kind. This is a film that really mystifies me, that intrigues me, and really takes me on a journey. This is an X-rated film from 1978. Let's get into it. Essentially, what we have is an anthology story based around a mystical, magical necklace of sorts, and this necklace has pagan priest origins of good fortune, and in particular, good sexual fortune. There are particular rules involving this necklace and the one who wears it, and so on and so forth. And the movie is different individuals with stories somewhat interlocking, as the necklace gets passed from character to character, and these characters know each other, but the stories are set apart from each other at the same time, which makes a very interesting interlocking anthology film. And we take the stories of the necklace wearer, the person who is wearing that necklace, and the power, the good fortune, the sexual good fortune that encompasses what happens. Now, obviously, one of the things is that the person who wears this necklace is somebody who is in a way deemed very, very attractive, not just sexually, but also financially, of a stature of sorts. So let's get into Sensual Encounters of Every Kind, 1978. Well, I will tell you this, when I talk about the music here, Vinegar Syndrome actually has only released two soundtracks, as far as I know. These two vinyl soundtracks. One is for Sex World, and the other one is for this film right here, Sensual Encounters of Every Kind. And it's an excellent soundtrack with a couple sound bites of dialogue from the film, as well as some mooning from the film. And it's just an unbelievable soundtrack. This is a movie that has kind of a classical, elegant orchestration to it, and at times classical music. And the pieces of music are matching the pieces and the stories within the film, within this anthology film. And you have that orchestration, and you have that classical music that is dramatic and kind of leading somewhere. It feels, it seems, it's leading somewhere. And then you have this orchestration, this classical music with a groovy rhythm, mixing the two. Can you even imagine what that is like? And there is a mystical, magical quality to it all in a way. We also have kind of this groovy, kind of jazzy, funky, very loose guitar, taking you very laid back, marijuana sounding, mystical world, sexy, groovy, funky, kind of rhythm guitar, kind of this taking you away, trees blowing in the wind feel, island feel, drug feel. And then we also kind of have those vibes mixed with the sounds of vibrators and within the scene that you are watching, but it's as if the vibrator actually becomes a musical instrument in the music, in the soundtrack, in the score. Also, we have this unbelievable psychedelic section that sounds like it's in slow motion, completely going into constellations, and it's as if you're entering into the stars, into the night, flying away in slow motion sex. And so you have all of these different types of songs and sounds cascading throughout this film. And even kind of a faster paced piece of music as well here that almost has a fun, a more jovial vibe to it. And there's so many different elements. And the necklace even has a theme, which is just this magical glistening of a theme. And it has all the different elements of this elegance and sophistication, as well as sexuality and sleazy fun and psychedelica all together. Now, when we look at this film, we have a variety of stories in this anthology. We have a woman who has an encounter with her landscapers in her house. We also have kind of a teacher of sorts and her interactions in teaching French to these two students in their home. And then we also go to a politician and his secretary, I believe, who's also his mistress. And this politician is also married. And then we also we go to a school gym and a coach and his two female students who are working out after hours. And then we end the story almost in a 50s feel, in a 50s vibe, which also adds some jazz music to the movie and also some kind of old-time 50s vibes to the music as well. So there is some jazz with saxophones here as well, more standard traditional jazz than the rest of the score for the film. We have a car of two young lovers and some sexual frustration there, but also a time lapse leading to a better future for the couple. And so we have these various stories here, and there are very interesting things going on here. We have slow motion, an unbelievable slow motion sequence in this film that ties in with the slow motion psychedelica of the music that's being played and what is happening in a kind of a sauna room, a steam room. And we also have a couple times some very interesting editing where it cuts sexual action in a way that it just takes out a few seconds of in between, and it kind of jolts around. The sex jolts and skips around in this pattern, in this kind of a skipping dance of sorts, the skipping sexual dance with the minuscule cutting of the editing, kind of making people kind of skipping, maybe getting to another position or things like that, and it just kind of flips by in this interesting way. We also have the camera moving in such a beautifully disorienting, a magically disorienting way over the bodies and over the sex and over the intercourse and over the oral sex, and we over the masturbation, and we have it in here. The camera, it's as if the camera knows where it's going, but it's seemingly haphazard, and it's turning and it's twisting down and around the bodies, and the camera's twirling and moving up and then going back down to the foot and then to the navel, spin back up to the face, and it's really unbelievable. And it does that also in some very, very close-up shots in the movie as well. And there are some amazing close-up shots sexually in this film as I say that, and a large variety of sexual styles kind of happening in the film. The interesting thing is that, in a way, two of the stories are started as rapes, which is very interesting, um, and they don't end that way per se. If you catch my drift. And so there was a bit of violence in a way with tinges of that kind of opens up to total ecstasy at the same time. We have unbelievable homes in this film, just lush 70s mansions, lamps, furniture, architecture, beautiful views out the windows. There's this great scene where this woman's running through her outside patio doors in the first story, and I just get a feeling from that, just a vibe from that. There's something really interesting. And just beautiful, the carpeting, and I mean, it just there's these bookshelves that are out of control, these stairs, and in a loft type of vibe in the second story. And so there's all these different environments, and then going from those lush, unbelievable architectural atmospheres to a school gym or to the inside of a Rolls Royce, I believe it was. So you have all these different aspects. Now, sexually, you also have some very interesting things going on here. Um, we have a girl taking two penises in her mouth at the same time, a guy kissing the girl after he ejaculates on her face. We also have some very wild things. A shirt gets caught in this woman's vagina in the second story, and she just kind of pulls it out slowly. We have a bidet in the film, and kind of the sexuality of the bidet, and really getting close up in the water, just squirting up into the vagina. We also have a hiding in bubbles and getting a high, as the characters say, out of almost getting caught. A great, very sexual dialogue and lots of cursing in the film at the same time in anger. Um, an erection sticking out of a bathtub mysteriously, like snorkeling equipment. A great line of a character saying, "I came into this world naked, and I will enter you naked as well." Lots of sex toys, anally, vaginally, close up in the camera, humongous sex toys with heads on them, sex toys being used on men's erections at the same time, crazy twists and how the necklace goes from person to person in a way. A coach who is disenfranchised with his wife and does this great thing. John Leslie just gives a finger. It just awesome stuff. And actually, there is definitely some interesting things happening with marriage in the film. And a kind of a downplay of characters like that. But there's such wild stuff here. And even a men's cosmetic company. It's all here. Sensual Encounters of Every Kind, 1978. What an awesome, magical, mystical, sexual, wild, close-up, explicit film. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like this film. Thank you so much, and good night.